Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning, viewers. So we are present here for a private conference for goods and services under invitation to be number 2024-003. So we are live via YouTube in compliance with Department Order number 6, series of 2024 for transparency of procurement processes. So before we proceed, may I request the Secretariat to acknowledge guests present.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning to everyone who are present here and to our online viewers. Now I'll be going to relay the names of those who are present for this morning's activity, which is the pre-bidding of bids for goods and services of pre-bidding conference conducted on September 10, 2024. Presiding today are BAC Chairperson, Ma'am Kathleen M. Sangria, together with the BAC Vice Chairperson, Sir Engineer Rico R. Rubin, along with the BAC members, Provisional Member Ma'am Esther O. Lorejo, and Provisional Member Ma'am Engineer Nora C. Ibarle. From the BAC Secretariat, headed by Ma'am Engineer Maria Shelby S. Mukya, present, together with Ma'am Berlin L. Melendez. From the DPWH, headed by Ma'am Engineer Pepe Grace A. Magadan, together with Sir Engineer Jonathan B. Suaybagyo, Sir Engineer Archelito Sirpo Jr., and Sir Engineer Renz Casilla. To everyone who is in here today, your presence and cooperation are appreciated. That would be all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. In the presence of the BAC Chairperson and the Vice Chairperson and the majority of the BAC members, I hereby declare a quorum and call this meeting in order. So we have here the present of agenda for our private conference. Mr. Amy, you have the copy. So any members from the BAC? Any comment for the agenda addition? There's none? So we have to move and adopt this agenda.
I move for the adoption of the present agenda.
I second the motion.
Has been moved and seconded, and no objection. The motion to adopt this agenda is hereby approved. So first, in the order of agenda, is the brief presentation and explanation of the BAC of the following: the basic contract data, the requirements, the documents to be submitted, and the criteria of and procedure of eligibility and the three-strike policy. So for the brief presentation, it will be given by Mr. Lorejo.
Thank you, Mom. Good morning, everyone. For contract ID 24 GLA 0004, PR number 2024-08-08 dated August 12, 2024. Contracting supply and delivery of consolidated computer or IT equipment and accessories for use in the DPWH Davao de Oro First Floor Engineering Office, the Procurement Davao de Oro for FY 2024 third quarter. Contract location, first DEO, Davao de Oro. Brief description of goods to be procured. System unit, Intel Core i5 Gen 8 GB RAM, 1 TB HDD, computer monitor, 21 inches FHD LED display, P22 VG5 FHD monitor, keyboard wide, mouse wide, system unit, Intel Core i5 12 Gen 16 GB RAM, 512 GB SSD plus 1 TB HDD, 2 GB graphics, for power 400 G9 base unit ITS, PCI and 15 other items. Approved budget for the contract or ABC, 8,287,871.63. Source of funds, EO FY 2024. Delivery date of goods, 90 calendar days. Cost of the documents, 5,000. That's all, ma'am.
Okay. Next in the order is the requirements of bidding documents. Presented by Engineer Sergio.
Good morning, everyone. To participate and qualify in our procurement activity, interested bidders are encouraged to read the following documents. Number one is the instruction to bidders. Number two, the bid data sheet. Number three, the general conditions of the contract. Number four, the special conditions of the contract. Number five is the bill of quantities. Number six, the drawings and specifications. And number seven, securities and other forms as may be required for the contract. Bidders are strongly advised to read each provision specifically rather the instruction to bidders and the general conditions of the contract, whose special instructions are clearly spelled out in the bid data sheet and the special conditions of the contract respectively. Bidders are also encouraged to check the bill of quantities so that your bid will be responsive to the requirements set forth in the bidding documents. That's all, Madam Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. For the explanation, next is for the documents to be submitted by the bidders. To be presented by Ms. Menendez.
A pleasant good morning, everyone, and the viewers, if there's any. For the eligibility and technical envelope, the following documents that are required. Number one, technical component of the bid. DTI or SEC registration, mayor's permit, statement of ongoing and similar completed government and private contract, audited financial statement stamped received by the BIR, income tax return of the preceding year filed and paid through the BIR electronic filing and payment system, computation of NFCC, tax clearance, Beljets under platinum membership, bid security in the prescribed form, technical specification, delivery schedule or production, warranty certificate if applicable, brochures of the offered equipment if applicable. Omnibus sworn statement, which is 10 items in accordance with the GPBB's resolutions. Secretary certificate and board resolutions if applicable. Number two, for the financial component of the bid, the following documents that are required: bid form, duly signed bid prices in the bill of quantities, detailed estimate including summary sheets. That's all, Ma'am Chair.
For the criteria and procedure, presented again by Ma'am Shelby Opia.
Good morning again, everyone. The bank will always follow the criteria and procedure of eligibility check, the preliminary examination of the bids, detailed evaluation of the bids, post-qualification, status of ongoing projects, and award. All documents that are mentioned shall be submitted sealed and markings of two envelope system. One envelope containing three envelopes. The first envelope with the original technical and financial component of the bid. The second envelope contains copy one of the technical and financial component of the bid. And the third envelope contains copy two of the technical and financial component of the bid. The copy one and copy two must be a duly certified true copy. The entries of the original copy of the bill of quantities shall be handwritten and be limited to two decimal places only, and it shall be signed by the duly authorized representative. And please do take note that since this is under the goods and services, the submission of the bids shall be done on manual submission and there is no electronic submission. The deadline of the submission of the bids will be on or before September 24, 2024 until 10 a.m. The place of opening of the bids will be at DPWH Conference Room, second floor of DPWH Davao de Oro, First District Engineering Office, Nabunturan, Davao de Oro. That's all, Madam Chair.
Again, ma'am. So for our next explanation for the strict three-strike policy against violation of section 69.14.I of the IRR of RA 9184 to be viewed via audiovisual.
Three-strike policy, introduction and policy objective. In order to establish a fair and transparent system for managing offenses committed by bidders in the procurement of infrastructure, goods, and consulting services projects through public bidding, the Department of Public Works and Highways, DPWH, hereby introduces an updated three-strike policy. This policy is aimed at enforcing adherence to the procurement guidelines stipulated under section 69.1.I of the 2016 revised implementing rules and regulations, IR, R of Republic Act, RAE 9184. Under this policy, if a bidder commits three offenses or acts described as all other acts that tend to defeat the purpose of competitive bidding, they shall be subjected to an administrative penalty. These offenses, acts are further classified into three major categories, as enumerated below.
Classification of offenses that triggers the three-strike policy and exceptions. 1. Withdrawal from the bidding process, submission of a non-participation letter, or failure to submit a bid after purchasing the bid documents. However, the Bids and Awards Committee BAC recognizes certain valid reasons for these actions. A. If upon computation prior to bid submission, the bidder determines that their proposed bid price will exceed the approved budget for the contract, ABC. To substantiate this, the bidder must provide evidence. Acceptable proof includes, but is not limited to, a detailed budget estimation or a market price report. B, if the bidder, after reviewing the bidding documents and evaluating the available market options, determines that the required goods or supplies either are not available, or that the available alternatives do not meet the specified technical specifications. Additionally, if providing the specified goods or supplies would require the bidder to incur costs exceeding the competitive and financially viable range, or if adherence to the specifications would lead to a bid price that is not economically favorable, the bidder may withdraw. To validate this reason, the bidder should present an affidavit demonstrating that participating in the bid under these conditions would be financially unsustainable. 2. Submission of late bids without valid reasons as determined by the BAC. Exceptions will be considered under extraordinary circumstances such as force majeure. This refers to unexpected and unavoidable external events that impede or prevent a bidder from timely bid submission, as defined in Article 1174 of the Philippine Civil Code. 3. Submission of patently insufficient bid. A patently insufficient bid here refers to a bid that fails to include or comply with certain mandatory requirements. The determination of whether a bidder committed such an offense may occur as outlined below. A. During eligibility screening and/or shortlisting. I. Submission of an expired certificate of Philippine Government Electronic Procurement System, PhilGPS, registration, platinum membership.
Or a certificate of PhilGPS certification containing expired Class A legal and financial documents as determined during the eligibility screening.
Failure to include certificate of employment, contract agreement among permanent personnel and staff of the firm, and curriculum vitae in the application for eligibility and shortlisting, AES.
Which are evaluated during the shortlisting for consulting services projects.
B. During bid evaluation, failure to submit required bid forms, as outlined in Annex C detailing the complete list of required bid forms.
2. Submission of incomplete, insufficient, or defective documents due to the non-inclusion and/or omission of mandatory provisions and statements for the required bid forms, as per Annex C outlining the mandatory provisions of required forms. 3. Submission of an unnotarized bid securing declaration, an omnibus sworn statement, and joint venture agreement or statements from all the potential joint venture partners, with the exception during the declaration of state of calamity. Or implementation of community quarantine or similar restrictions declared or being implemented either in the locality of the procuring entity, PE, or of the bidder. 4. Submission of the bid form, price schedules, bid securing declaration, omnibus sworn statement, and joint venture agreement, JVA, without the name, legal capacity, and signature of the bidder or its authorized representative. 5. Nomination of key personnel of a profession different from what is required by the bidding documents, or, in the case of consulting services, proposing a key personnel whose educational background is different from that required by the TOR. 6. Failure to submit proof of ownership, lease, or purchase agreement of pledged equipment.
7. Failure to submit the required certification of key personnel as per Department Order Number 9, Series of 2012, or, in the case of consulting services projects, failure to submit certifications as required by the Terms of Reference, TOR.
8. Failure to comply with the required minimum number of key personnel and equipment as stated in the bidding documents.
C. During post-qualification. 1. Participation in bidding for consulting services or good and services contracts by a bidder whose business type category, as indicated on the mayor's permit, does not match or are unrelated to the contract being bid for, as determined during the post-qualification process. 2. Participation for infrastructure projects by a bidder whose allowable range of contract costs, RCC, as indicated on the CAB license, does not match with the specific requirements of the infrastructure project being bid for in terms of category, classifications, and size range. Enforcement and penalties. If a bidder commits any of the 3 major offenses or acts listed above 3 times within a year starting from the approval date of the resolution recommending the imposition of strike 1, first warning, which is counted as day 1 through day 365, and if these 3 offenses are similar or identical nature, it will trigger the enforcement of the stipulated administrative penalty, suspension from participating in all DPWH procurement activities, and entering into contract with any DPWH procuring entity. Subsequently, as per the procedure outlined in Annex A, this may result in the blacklisting of the suspended bidder, thereby disqualifying the bidder from participating in any government procurement activities for a period of 1 year. In conjunction with blacklisting, the bidder will also face bid security forfeiture and must comply with the enforcement of the bid securing declarations condition. In more severe instances, when a bidder commits another set of 3 similar offenses, or more than 2 sets of 3 similar offenses instances, where more than 6 similar offenses occur within the said 1-year time frame, the bidder may be subjected to an increased penalty, resulting in blacklisting for a period of 2 years. The effectuation for the penalty of either 1 or 2 years, as applicable, will be clearly stipulated in the blacklisting order. with the provision that the duration of blacklisting shall not exceed a maximum period of 2 years, commencing on the date the blacklisting order is approved and issued by the Secretary. In enforcing these penalties, the emphasizes the need for a clear and fair procedure. When an offense leading to a strike is identified, the erring bidder will be promptly notified by the Bids and Awards Committee, back, and given a chance to explain their actions before any final decision is made. This procedure helps ensure a well-informed and fair judgment. Furthermore, if it is suspended due to 3 strikes, they have the right to file a request for reconsideration as per the procedure in Annex Up. This gives the suspended bidder a formal way to challenge the suspension, showcasing the department's commitment to due process. In enforcing the 3-strike policy. 4. Due process and implementation to ensure that due process is upheld across all stages of procurement from eligibility screening and shortlisting to bid evaluation and post-qualification. It is essential for the BAC and its technical working group, TWG, to meticulously verify the monthly consolidated strike reports updated version at each stage of the procurement process. All BACs are tasked with actively monitoring these updates to accurately track the infractions committed by bidders. Notably, even if a bidder has accumulated 3 strikes, this alone shall not be grounds for ineligibility, disqualification, or post-qualification until the suspension order is approved by the Secretary and officially posted on DPWH website. Moreover, if a suspended bidder has filed a request for reconsideration, the awarding of the contract may be deferred until such request is resolved. This approach ensures the integrity and coherence of our dedication to a transparent and fair process for all participants. Failure of the concerned DPWH personnel to implement the provisions of this order shall, after due process, make them liable to the penalties prescribed for violation of reasonable office rules and regulation in Rule 10, Administrative Offenses and Penalties of the 2017 Rules on Administrative in the Civil Service dated the 3rd of July 2017. This order shall take effect immediately and shall supersede Department Order Number 17, Series of 2015, Department Order Number 35, Series of 2008, and all other issuances that are inconsistent with this order.
Additional information.
Presentation. So thank you, BAC members and the Secretariat for that detailed presentation and explanation of the materials to be procured, the requirements to be submitted by the bidders, and the gentle reminders in the preparation of bidding documents. So next, in the order of business, for number 2, the question, comments from the bidders and replies of the BAC and other representative of the procuring entity. Is there any? So there's none. So we'll go to the last agenda, the summary and proceedings, including supplemental and bid bulletin to be issued, to be presented by Engineer Shelby.
Good morning again. All the needed information were discussed and explained by the resource persons. I would like to remind the prospective bidders to visit from time to time the DPWH and PhilJEP's website, especially within 7 calendar days prior to the deadline of the submission of the bids for the supplemental or bid bulletins to be issued therein. That's all, Madam Chair.
So all the needed information have already been discussed and explained. So is there any other agenda? Other matters from the members of the BAC? There's none. So all the the business in the agenda were already taken into consideration. So may I know the pleasure of the body?
I move to adjourn this private conference.
I second the motion.
Has been moved by Engineer Ruben and seconded by Ma'am Lorejo. And with no objection, the motion is hereby approved. And this conference is now adjourned. Thank you again and good morning.